Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to part 2 of your first quarter reading. We are going to jump right in here. If you don't remember, part 1 is linked up down below. Make sure to check that out. We already pulled all these cards that you see right here. So we're just going to go through and clarify this and get some more detail. So in your first row, you have the King of Wands, the Three of Cups, and the Queen of Cups. You also have the Fool, clarifying the King of Wands. So definitely time for you to take a leap of faith towards that King of Wands energy. Towards the end of the first reading, this is basically what I was saying, that the King of Pentacles is the comfort zone. The King of Wands energy is like the new thing that you're taking a leap of faith towards. And here you go. So it's like you're more than prepared for the King of Wands. Like I said, whatever the King of Wands is for you, I know I'm speaking generally here, but I literally feel that this could be a person for you, but it could for some of you. For others, it's like a business or a career or something that you want to create. The problem with the King of Wands, the reason the King of Wands can be scary, like I said in the first reading, is because you have to take care of it like a baby. Like I said, you have to like change its diapers. You have to stay up late with it. You have to, raise it, whatever it is. So if it's like a business, you're really going to have to be putting in the work. That Fool just says, you're ready. You're ready for the baby. You're ready for the baby to be born in your life, whatever this new baby is. And you have that co-create with Spirit card, and I feel like it's saying, like the universe is like saying, come on, let's go. I'm really surprised the Three of Wands hasn't shown up here. With the Three of Cups, you have the Three of Swords here. I do think the only thing that could be holding you back in love is past heartbreak, which we kind of talked about again in the first reading with like a stepping stone soulmate type of energy that I was getting there. Again, King of Pentacles, I don't hate the King of Pentacles, but sometimes I feel like the King of Pentacles is just too much history, if that makes sense, where, we can have experienced something too many times. And so then we start getting like shy or gun shy around something where it's like we've experienced heartbreak too many times. And it's like, then we don't want to experience again. We've experienced financial loss too many times and we don't want to experience it again. So the King of Pentacles can sometimes, I feel, make us fear taking, a risk. So is it really a risk to, maybe I'm insensitive, I don't know, maybe I'm just a cold-hearted Pisces, right? I'm an Aquarius rising, a Gemini moon, ice runs through my veins, right? I'm sure some of you are going to tell me that. That's fine. I totally accept it. But what I would say here with that King of Pentacles is like, people always tell me all the time how they want love, but they're afraid to go get it because they've been hurt and all this other stuff. And I'm always like, yeah, but okay, you've been hurt, but it's like you're not dead, So to me, it's like a risk is worth it, of course, if you're not going to die, obviously. And is it really that big of a deal? Probably not. So I would take the risk on something new is what this is asking you to do. Three of Swords is meant to be temporary. You can see that it's raining on this card. And as I always say, it does not rain forever, right? So this card reminds you that whatever it is that you could potentially be going through is temporary. It's not going to be something that lasts forever in the first place. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Nine of Swords. Get out of your head, for sure. I do feel like the Nine of Swords is like a temporary situation as well. Nine of Swords very specifically is meant to represent something that is temporary, something that is not going to last. So the Nine of Swords definitely says get out of your head with that Three of Swords energy. With the King of Pentacles, what do you know? You have the Page of Pentacles, literally encouraging you to start something new. Page of Pentacles is the card of newness. The Page of Pentacles says it is time for you to start a new journey. He represents learning something as well. He is like the card of studiousness, the card of learning something new. So this pretty simple reading. I think it's just encouraging you towards newness. With the Two of Swords, you have the Two of Cups. Look at this. The card of stepping stone soulmates. I literally said this in the first reading. So I do feel that some of you are, if you're a little bit shy around love, if you're a little bit nervous, totally understand, totally fine. Take your time. Don't force anything, right? But I do feel that someone from the past was a stepping stone soulmate, and because the Two of Cups is the card of stepping stone soulmates, and it's like now you're moving on to something new. The problem with getting the Two of Swords and then the Two of Cups clarifying is seeing past a situation. It's like, I'm sure we've all been in relationships where, it's hard to see past that person. Maybe we think that a person is the best we're going to get, or we just can't see how we could meet someone that is better than that person. But we always do, for the most part. Most people do, is what I would say here. And on top of that, it's like every rose has its thorn. So it doesn't matter how great you thought someone was. It's like, trust me, in the future, when you meet someone better, you'll be like, oh my God, that person was basically, the hunchback of Notre Dame. Like, what was I thinking, right? So, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel with the Two of Swords, we need perspective. But we can't get the perspective until we experience something new with the Two of Swords. That's the problem with the Two of Swords, if there is a problem, right? With the Ten of Cups, what do you know? World. Love it. Accomplishing something great. Also being born into a new world. All three water signs for these first quarter readings, all three of you water signs had these messages of being pushed into a new world, being born into a new world. Jupiter in Pisces is what I would say. Even though Jupiter isn't in Scorpio, doesn't matter. All three water signs are going to benefit greatly from Jupiter in Pisces, for sure. So, it makes perfect sense to me that a lot of you could be going through these positive transformations. You could be going through, a lot of growth and expansion in the world. All, pretty much all sorts of things with this world energy. So, not only that, it's like you're being born into a new world. Something is being born into your life. And again, all three water signs kind of had a similar energy to them about, raising something like a baby, like the King of Wands does, The King of Wands, he to me is kind of like the true father. And if you want to get super technical, the Emperor is a true father, and you have the Emperor right here. So there's this like really, nurturing energy. Queen of Cups, card of the nurturing energy. It's like you're having to nurture something that's going to be very important into existence. With the Judgment card, you have the Justice card. Justice is cause and effect. I think that when we're stuck, if we need to gain perspective, if we can't see past something with the Two of Swords, Justice just says, take a tiny little step. Just try it, right? Justice is like tennis. It's like you hit the ball to one side of the court and then wait to see if it gets returned back to you. So the Justice card says, maybe if it's a love, maybe you just need to go on a date and see what's out there, or go on a couple dates. If it works, great. If it doesn't, at least you tried, right? Same thing with business as well. The Justice card just says, try one thing. If it doesn't, the ball doesn't get returned, try something else. Hit another ball over and see what works. And when we kind of like work like that with the Justice card, and we just take small steps, right? Eventually we get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and we find success. So that's what I would do with the Justice card. Justice and Judgment, by the way, could be a settlement. So if you're dealing with something legal, or if you're like waiting for a legal decision, if you're waiting for a settlement, I do feel this could be a settlement. And you do have the Page of Pentacles as well, which could be like an offer or someone making you an offer. And it could be a good one as well. I would prefer to see the Two of Pentacles show up in the reading. When I get like the Judgment, Justice, Two of Pentacles, to me that is a very good combination for settlements, legal matters, things like that. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Two of Swords. What are you waiting for? Again, you have the Two of Swords twice here. Two of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles with the Two of Swords. So it's the Knight of Pentacles is being too cautious, and the Two of Swords, she is being too cautious. If she took her blindfold off and turned around again, she would see those two rocks. She would be able to walk over to this new island. So the whole entire reading is really asking you to face a fear. You have this Facing Your Fears card, but clearly what's on the other side of your fears is this right here. The Ten of Cups and the World, an accomplishment, an achievement, happily ever after, all this other stuff. So I think it's worth the risk. And I'm going to get nosy. I'm going to pull an extra row and see. With the Judgment card, with the Emperor, you have the Five of Swords. Literally, this card says take a risk. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I always say Five of Swords can represent conflict. It can represent loss, losing something, a breakup, separation, whatever. But to me, it's really a card of taking a risk. It's a card of like needing to put yourself out there. The reason it represents taking a risk is that those two people have lost. They are walking away from this guy here who has won. But he's leaving these two swords behind right here. They could easily turn around. They could grab those two swords and they could stab him, and he could basically do nothing about it. If you were holding on to three swords and someone were to grab one, you would probably actually win with just one sword, right? Not three swords. Because, trust me, if you've tried to swing two swords at once, you'd be like very clumsy, right? So it's like a card of taking a risk. He knows that he can come back and he can grab those swords after he takes the three swords like somewhere else. He'll just come back at the other two. So it's kind of like a card of taking a risk. And that's what I feel like you need to do here. Let's be nosy. I'm going to pull this card right here. You have this Time Machine card. The Time Machine card says you might be thinking too much about the past, again, especially if you're dealing with love. For others, I feel like you could be wishing to go back to the past. The interesting thing is, you have a lot of cards here that represent having a lot of wisdom or knowledge. The Fool, he has this tiny little sack on his back. It says that tiny little sack, he's about to go on this long journey. The Fool works his way from the Fool all the way to the world, which you have right here. But with only that tiny little sack, it says he has everything he needs right here. You have the Page of Pentacles, card of knowledge, card of wisdom. So I feel like you have all the wisdom you need. You could be like wishing that you could go back to the past, in the sense that you're like, if I knew then what I know now, right? But that's not always the case. Let's see. We are going to ask, what is on the other side of, let's get more details about the fears and what's on the other side of facing these fears. You have a bunch of cards wanting to fly out, but, damn is what I'll say, Scorpio, the Wheel of Fortune and the Nine of Pentacles. So a lot of success, a lot of abundance, and clearly your destiny. Also, very similar to this right here. The Wheel of Fortune, there's like a wheel right here as well, Scorpio. So there's clearly a, significant transformation. The moon, there are your fears. The moon represents your fears. But there's a path straight down the middle of the moon card. I always say the moon doesn't say stop. The moon says keep going. There are some mountains in the background. Mountains represent like achievements in the tarot. It's like, yeah, you're going to have to climb the mountain. You're going to have to face the fear. But what do you get at the top of the mountain? The best views. So I always tell people, climb the freaking mountain because you're going to get the best views. And look, here you go. Ace of Swords. Are you kidding me? A victory, major victory. And again, the sword is above the mountains. It represents the fact that you will always be able to overcome anything that comes your way. I always say the Ace of Swords is card of victory, and it does represent overcoming obstacles, but it doesn't say you'll never experience obstacles again in your life. I think people make that mistake, like thinking, oh, I should never experience obstacles again. It's like, no, your life would be boring, trust me, if you didn't experience obstacles. If we have nothing to work towards, it's like boring. It's like super boring, right? But it does say that you will easily be able to overcome obstacles. So there will always be obstacles, but Ace of Swords is the victory, right? So there's clearly some sort of major victory coming in for you here, Scorpio. I really like this reading. It's almost like you're gaining confidence, and maybe that's what you're nurturing with the King of Wands. He would be the card of confidence, and so maybe that's what you're taking care of, is your own confidence, and this could be leading to a turnaround with that Wheel of Fortune. Let's clarify it. Why not? With the Nine of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Love it. So, basically when a card repeats itself, it's like the universe saying, I meant what I said. So I feel like there's just a major turnaround coming in. With the moon, you have the King of Cups. Yeah, learning how to conquer your emotions, learning how to conquer your fears. He is not worried about anything. There are choppy waters all around the King of Cups, but he's not really worried about the choppy waters. He's sitting there and he's perfectly calm. He knows he can handle it. He knows that he'll be perfectly fine. He's not really worried about what's going on around him. And with the Ace of Swords, you have the Four Swords. Yeah, being able to take a break. Again, once you climb the mountain, you'll be able to take a break. There's also a person, he is praying for blessings. There's a person who's being blessed in this stained glass window right here, Scorpio. So he's hoping and praying for those blessings, and I just feel that Ace of Swords is kind of like the victory or the blessings that you're having in facing some sort of fear. So I'd say, what are you afraid of? Whatever it is, it's okay. I'm afraid of plenty of stuff, right? We're all afraid of, stuff, whatever it is. Who knows? But what I would say here is I feel like it'd be very beneficial for you to face some sort of fear. But I feel like this fear is it's very specific. So the fear that you're facing is something that you can't see past. It's like you can't see yourself getting better. I just see I see the barrier and then needing to see past the barrier. Love, business, whatever, doesn't matter. Really good reading. I feel like it's extremely empowering as well. It's like that's the whole point of the Ace of Swords. It's like it's above the mountains. And like I said, where do you get the best views? At the top of the mountains. So I would definitely take this risk. It's going to make you feel empowered. Really nice. Love it. So thank you for being here, Scorpio. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your first quarter.